Our episode commences with Prince Gerald and his troops on a vessel, navigating towards the harbor of Bilberg. The gardener informs him that they are in close proximity, leading Prince Gerald to contemplate, "I'll confirm this personally. I'll ascertain if you've genuinely become the dragon's spouse, that monster's mate or not. Relax." The narrative then transitions to Camellia and her companion. He inquires about Prince Gerald's possible thoughts since even if this isn't a formal call, it's still rather unexpected considering recent occurrences. "We can't even conduct adequate arrangements." Camellia answers that his assertion of desiring to converse about prospective ties between the two nations with Jill's attendance is simply bare-faced impudence. Subsequently, Jill emerges with Saphir appearing dejected. Saphir encourages her to offer a slight grin. Jill retorts that she's never sensed the necessity to exhibit charming expressions. Sophia counsels her that a potent woman should beam and adorn a few embellishments to appear even more alluring. Jill counters that she'll don a belt concealing a firearm. Upon encountering Gerald, she loathes him intensely. Saphir reminds her that she must demonstrate to Gerald that she's content here and is treated exceptionally well, and she can transmit that through her demeanor. Jill then proceeds to meet Emperor Hadis, who compliments her striking appearance and the breathtaking gown she's wearing. He then notes that the Creed administration alleges she was abducted and requested her presence to disprove this claim. He subsequently questions why her expression is intensifying. Jill explains that she can't restrain herself when she considers the foe's assault, as Prince Gerald's actual objective isn't solely her, but his ambition to dominate everyone. She guarantees the Emperor her protection, regardless of the consequences. The Emperor then grasps Jill's hand, and as they stroll together, Jill admits her self-disappointment, particularly her failure to produce a tender smile, as all she experiences is the urge to shed Prince Gerald's blood. The Emperor remarks that her mind is preoccupied with thoughts of that prince rather than himself, and proposes she contemplate him slightly instead of Gerald. He inquires if there's some prior chronicle between them beyond the informal betrothal, adding that he'll depart alone and leave her behind. Jill objects that this is excessively perilous, and he won't be capable of defending himself against the capture allegations unaccompanied. The Emperor resolutely proclaims that he won't permit that prince to possess her. She is destined to be his consort. Infuriated, Jill commences disputing with the Emperor, maintaining she will accompany him. The Emperor raises her and requests her never to abhor him. Jill pledges she won't detest him, as she had sworn. He endeavors to approach her, but Jill strikes him. The scene shifts to Prince Gerald with Jill and Emperor Hadis. Prince Gerald observes that this is an unanticipated call, and he is extremely appreciative that they consented to receive him, notwithstanding this. He then perceives the mark from the blow on Emperor Hadis's face. The Emperor clarifies that it was the outcome of a minor disagreement between him and Jill en route. He desired her return home and absence from the meeting, as his possessiveness had distressed her significantly, which prompted Jill to slap him. The Emperor expresses regret for not conferring earlier with the Servile family, as he aimed to avert further abduction claims. The Emperor then rises and invites Prince Gerald to feel comfortable, pleased that this misapprehension has been settled. Jill expresses remorse for her conduct, and Prince Gerald inquires if she has no desire to return, as she had been genuinely betrothed to him, and her destiny was to become his wife, not Emperor Hadis's. So why does she forsake her homeland and relatives for the Emperor? Jill responds that the Emperor requires her. Prince Gerald then asserts that the Emperor's aim is to safeguard himself from the hex, which is why he pursued a woman capable of perceiving dragons. But what if Miss Jill is incapable of shielding you from the malediction? I learned of the episode at the military dock, and permitting the Marquee to survive was a prudent choice given the political climate. Your citizens were reassured to discover that gossip of you being a hexed emperor was untrue. But if the curse hasn't been lifted, then Marquee Bell will perish. At that juncture, a sentinel enters and apologizes for disrupting their dialogue, explaining that he has pressing information to relay. Marquee Bell has either expired or been slain, with the cause of demise being direct strangulation. Then we observe Jill seated and conversing with her companions about this occurrence, and they discover that based on the Sentinel's accounts, Marquee Bell hanged himself while in confinement. His offspring Sophia proceeded to recognize the remains and ascertain what had transpired, as the affair was profoundly agonizing for her. Meanwhile, they must decree to carefully manage the dissemination of the information, but she informs them it's futile to do so. The tidings have already circulated throughout the municipality, and everyone is petrified that the Emperor's curse will eliminate them. Theo notes that certain individuals are promoting this type of mindset. However, he supplements that it may very well be the handiwork of Prince Gerald, as he uttered something peculiar during their discussions. Jill then recollects his statement, "All you need to do is become dispensable." Numerous individuals are now scrutinizing the incident and Marquee Bell's demise, convinced that this curse was accountable for it. Camilla then addresses Jill and inquires if she recalls what she alluded to regarding the mystical shield. At that period, she hadn't disclosed the complete narrative. After the shield of enchantment obstructed the curse, the underworld and fiends were enraged because their curse became powerless. Aware that if the curse manifested in its actual embodiment, the shield would repulse it, the curse metamorphosed into a dark specter and requested to be transported here. What she intended was a consecrated lance, bequeathed through generations within the royal lineage of Kredos. Although she had presumed it was merely a fable, like the Emperor's celestial dragon blade, however, it was recounted that the lance vanished ages ago. If she could glimpse it and pay her respects, she would do so without delay. Camilla then rebukes her, stating, "Wait a moment, you weapon enthusiast. Are you going to persist in diverting the conversation?" She elaborates that the lance traversed the ocean to arrive at the realm of Rafi, and when the populace of Kredos' kingdom bestowed it upon the Emperor and as dragon sovereign, the queen observed that the lance was cursed. She then impaled herself upon the blade, forfeiting her life, and consequently, the shield was demolished, and the curse vanished from the territories. Sieg remarks, however, that this is merely folklore, and it doesn't signify Jill will encounter the same destiny as the commander, as the consequence of the curse, which induces the fatalities of imperial princes, is also dissimilar. As they brace for the turmoil that will ensue from Marquee Bell's demise, Sophia enters exhibiting an uncommon condition. She then employs magic to generate the sacred lance and thrusts at Jill who, foreseeing the onslaught, promptly circumvents it. They deduce that this wasn't Sophia but rather the authentic Dragon Emperor's spouse. She then initiates combat with all of them. At that moment, His Majesty arrives and discerns that Sophia has been seized by the curse. She nearly terminates Jill, but the Dragon King Hideo rescues her in the nick of time. The cursed individual absconds swiftly, though he desired to slay her since she was cursed and might still be concealed within. However, Jill held a divergent perspective, stating, "We should contemplate an alternative method besides eliminating her." To which he replies, "I will be the one to reach that verdict." Then he extends his hand towards her, requesting her to surrender Sophia, but Jill declines to obey. She informs him that the shadow asserted it was the genuine consort of the Dragon Emperor, implying she was merely a counterfeit. However, Hades is well aware that she is his true wife. Hades responds to her stating he never envisioned he would be reproached for treachery, particularly since it wasn't initiated by him, despite the fact she doesn't cherish him whatsoever. He then directs Zeke and Camilla to convey all the females from the vicinity to the palace as the beast has discovered a means to possess women and infiltrate the metropolis. Therefore, they must issue pronouncements in town instantaneously. He cautions them to be especially wary of those approximately the age of 14. If any provoke difficulty, they are to be terminated immediately and later declared to be part of a relocation. Any defiance will be regarded as treason. Jill interjects, telling him that employing this coercion in their strategies will only cause people to protest and accuse him of being cursed. Hades interrupts her, insisting he will tolerate no justifications. He cannot fathom that any woman in this municipality would be appropriate as a receptacle, yet, should that apparition reappear, it will generate difficulties. Jill discerns he's alluding to Kratos, who is unable to revert to her initial state because her abilities manifested at 14. She deduces that Hades desires girls younger than 14 as they would not be fitting receptacles. Hades then converses with Camilla, directing her to escort Miss Sophia away and maintain her under observation within a shield. Addressing Jill, he informs her that he presumes she has no qualms as he's not eliminating her despite her suspicions. He's making concessions for her benefit. Subsequently, Jill retires to her quarters, enraged by his pronouncements, and recollects the vision of the ebony lance and the receptacle Hades referenced. She ponders how the populace assumes that these two sovereigns were to wed, and now she finds herself embroiled in the entire affair. She remembers his remarks to her. She had never comprehended what was appealing about the emperor, as he frequently lapses into unconsciousness and is undependable. Still, he's a superb chef who instructed her in numerous things. Even when he censured her, he invariably strived to satisfy her aspirations, and she yearns for them to evolve into a genuine pair. He is seeking affection from me. I should express gratitude to him for voicing it. Jill departs her chamber and discovers Hades standing before her. She inquires, "Do you require something?" Rafi intervenes, telling Hades, "Isn't it marvelous that she's still roused? Proceed. Express your regrets to her." Hades retorts, "I committed no transgression. I uttered nothing erroneous, except perhaps that you detest me." Jill then states, "Permit me to attend to your left hand. I desire to mend it." He answers, "It doesn't ache. It will mend shortly." She persists, "I'll mend it with my sorcery and utilize some dressings." Hades becomes irate, stating, "Don't behave affectionately towards me now. I wouldn't comprehend what to do if you did, and I didn't journey here to offer apologies." Jill speaks up, saying, "You're perpetually like this. You claim you don't want me to despise you, and you desire me to cherish you, yet you never advance towards me. It's a scheme for a blissful family. Do you believe I haven't observed? You haven't even addressed me by my name throughout this entire period." Hades replies, "You're correct. We shouldn't develop romantic feelings for each other. It's something that would solely result in calamity." Abruptly, sentinels arrive, informing him the town is aflame. The blaze is propagating rapidly, and the townsfolk are revolting and progressing toward the castle. The circumstances are exceedingly perilous. Hades instantly departs with them, instructing Rafi to safeguard Jill. He rushes toward the guards, slaying them, stating, "If I declare it's the hex of a monster, that should clarify everything." One of the sentinels implores Hades, "I desire the return of my spouse and offspring. They will not be immolations for you." Hades responds, "I commanded an exodus, though I presume you'd find it difficult to trust the pronouncements of someone accursed." Another sentinel arrives, inquiring what transpired, and Hades replies, "Some individuals from the town attempted to penetrate to retrieve the females. There are blazes and uprisings. The rebels are pursuing me. Allocate all assets to combating the flames in the town. I'll manage the remainder." Jill calls out to him, requesting him to tarry, and instructs the sentinel to summon Camilla and Zeke to halt Hades. Rafi expresses regret, informing her, "He cannot perceive you. Within this barrier resides the most secure location globally.